All right. Welcome to the Norman Zone. My name is Jonathan Norman. I'm going to be doing a little hopes and fears of the new Crystal Lake series that is supposedly coming out at some point. I've done a little bit of looking into it, and it doesn't seem like there's all that much information out. It looks like they're keeping it pretty close to the vest, which is understandable. But I'm just going to kind of, as a fan of the Friday the 13th series, it's not my favorite, but it's one, especially the first one, in all honesty. I'm a 90s baby, so that first movie, it does kind of, it's a little boring to me, in all honesty. And I've always thought it would be, like, if you were to remake that, like, as Pamela instead of Jason, I could actually find that interesting and different. I know we all love Jason, but I am down to dive a little more into who Pamela is and more layers into the character. So I am excited for this series. I'm someone where you can reboot something I like, you can make a series of it, you can really do whatever you want of something that I enjoy, and it doesn't take away from my enjoyment of what I've already experienced. I'm not one of these don't touch the things I grew up with. So these are just kind of my hopes, my fears, my predictions, things as a fan that I would, in things that I like that I would like to see possibly. We got nothing, no information on this series, besides that I think it's going to be on Peacock, if I'm right. Yeah, I believe it's going to be on Peacock or Paramount. It's going to be on a streaming service. Let's see. So I've just written down some notes that I'll go over. This is a very, I guess, raw kind of, I'm not going to do a lot of editing with this video. So you're just going to hear a guy talking about his feelings on what he wants. So let's get into it. First thing I have is, one, don't kill Jason right away. I don't want this to be... I'm hearing that this is a prequel, which is interesting, because the first movie came out in, 1980? So is this going to be taking place in the 70s? Is this going to be before Jason's even born? Is this going to be just a Pamela story? I have no idea. Which is why I'm very fascinated in this project. But if Jason is in it, I hope we don't start off with him drowning. And as I was writing these notes, I kind of realized that a lot of them sound like another prequel show based off of a famous horror franchise, and I'll get into that after I kind of go through a few of them, because you might notice what a lot of these sound like. So yeah, I'm really hoping that we actually get Jason as a character. I would like to see Pamela and Jason as a mother and son, and actually see that relationship, because that's something we've never gotten. We've never gotten to see how she is as a mother, and I think that would actually be really fun and cool to see that Pamela actually is a good mom. That I would like to like Pamela Voorhees. I would like to see, and it would be really easy too, because like a mother that has a son with a physical disorder who, who gets picked on and stuff like that, that could be really easy for us to like her. It can be really, really nice to see a mother telling her son to not care what the other kids think, and try to keep her son, his spirits lifted, and it could make us like Jason more too. We could, empathize with him a little more. So I would like to see a good, who knows? Maybe this is a one series kind of thing, a limited series thing. Maybe it'll spawn into a 10 season show. Who knows? But whatever it is, I just hope we get a little time with Pamela and Jason. At least Jason as a kid, Jason as a teenager. I really don't care. If this is... It's a little hard, because if this is supposed to take place like in the original 1980s Friday the 13th, then that might be a little hard without retconning some stuff. But it would be fun for me. It would flesh out the characters and make me probably like them a little more and give me a different perspective on the first movie. And and I'm not saying don't make Jason an adult at all. You can, if it were me, I would take the time to because I would take the time and to really flesh out kid Jason, and then maybe have like the last season or the last few episodes as him as an adult or something, and then season 2 could be him as full adult Jason. I think you should give Jason a like a friend. I don't know, like there's so much you can do with this series, so it's just where my mind goes is like, oh man, what if Pamela like buys the camp, and she's the one that wants to open it up and run it and all this, and she thinks it would be good for Jason, maybe a way for, or she's just wanting to, everything is for Jason, right? It would be kind of cool, and again, a way for us to like her as a character if she was doing this and going to the camp and thinking, oh, what a great opportunity, I've got nothing going on in my life, why don't I do this, and I can bring my kid along and he can make friends. And then it also kind of makes her feel guilty when he dies, because we all know his fate. And so I this is just kind of an up in the air thought, but like you could kind of give Jason like I'd like to see how Jason kind of figures out everything. It'd be kind of cool to dive into those things where maybe he has like a groundskeeper friend, and he's the one that teaches him the traps, he's the one that teaches him how to hunt. He's kind of, the guy that is almost a little bit of a father figure to Jason or something. Again, who knows what they're going to do with this fucking series? We could see Jason's entire family. They could go in a way where this is like Texas Chainsaw Massacre type shit. I have no idea. This is just, I wouldn't want that, honestly. So I'm just kind of giving you the kind of realm I would want this series to go in. And that's where I'm just going to kind of say now that a lot of these notes, after I wrote them down, I kind of realized a lot of this sounds like Bates Motel. And that was kind of subconscious. I didn't mean for it to sound like that, but the more I think about it, that would be kind of the, maybe not so dramatic, because personally, when I go into if I turn on a Friday the 13th movie, I'm in it for the fun. I'm in it for the campiness, no pun intended. I'm in for the death scene, the unique death scenes. Because if you turn on we all look for different things in different franchises, right? You turn on a Scream movie because you want the meta, you want the references, but you're not really in it for the unique kills. You're just gonna get stab. With Jason, you want the unique kills. You want people to get, decapitated in an interesting way. You want people to get split in half, upside down. You want all these different kinds of things. You want an axe to go through someone's fucking head. And I would really want the kills, speaking about the kills, I'd really want the kills to be theatrical. Please don't fucking CGI. Don't give me a CGI bloodbath, because it's going to take me out of it. And I feel like Friday the 13th is so known for being practical. I mean, even the Hatchet movies, I feel, even though they're extremely campy, they very much are like an homage to the Friday the 13th movies because of that. So I'd want the kills to be very theatrical, even if they're kind of cheesy. I don't care. Give me cheesy theatrical over bad CGI any day. And like I said, a lot of these notes I've kind of noticed kind of sound like Bates Motel, because you have a mother and a son, and the mother obviously has some mental issues, the son has some issues, but instead of, instead of Jason having kind of mentally fucked up issues, which you could have him have mentally fucked up issues, but obviously his are physical. And that could give us a really different it could shine some light on a different aspect on Jason. I really liked American Horror Story 1984. I think they did a lot of things really well, and I think that kind of tone with color and the characters and just, again, obviously it was inspired by, it was taken the Friday the 13th-esque feel and playing around with it, and I think that's kind of what you do here. Don't make it too serious. We still want to have fun. We still want the carnage candy. Yes, we want to see people get killed while they're having sex in crazy ways. Don't shy away from any of that. I think you really got to keep it first and foremost entertaining. I'd want it to be fun. Overall, I'd want it to be fun. I don't want to feel bad. I don't want, so that's kind of the difference between, like, even though a lot of my notes, I could be like, that sounds like Bates Motel. Yeah, but where Bates Motel was a very serious kind of drama thing, I'd want this to be a little, maybe a slight more campy, more colorful, and just have fun with itself. You could really, again, something we never really got in the Friday the 13th movies that I think the American Horror Story 1984 got really well was we got to see the mother, because they do the same kind of thing. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that season. We see a mother a kid dies at camp, and we see a mom really grieve. I'll put the picture up. I don't remember the actress's name. We see her reaction to her kid dying, and it is like, wow. I wouldn't be surprised if the actress had to just go into her trailer and relax and take a nap and put on some happy movies after that, because she did a really good job, and I'd want that kind of performance when it comes to Pamela grieving over Jason's death, if Jason dies, because again, that's something else. How are you gonna have Jason die and Jason come back, right? Because that's kind of the whole thing, is how do you do that? How do you, that's one note I can give. It's not a deal breaker, but I don't want magic. I don't want them to have some kind of a seance kind of a thing for Jason and resurrect his body or something. I don't know. Don't Pet Cemetery this shit. I guess you could. You could have that one element of paranormal, right? I mean, it did work in Pet Cemetery. I guess that you could do something like that and just have that one element, and that's fine. But it's kind of, they're like Pringles. It's hard to just fucking do one thing and then leave it alone, because Jason's always going to come back. So if you're going to have to keep explaining how Jason comes back, and again, I don't even know if Jason's in this. That's the crazy thing, right? It's like this could straight just be a Pamela kind of story. They could kind of be going in that route, where we're literally just following her character. And I'd be fine for that. If Jason's not in this and we're just watching her, again, it could give you a completely different perspective on the first movie. It could actually make it better. Because, if you sympathize with a mother losing her kid, especially when her kid already had, was dealt a rough hand, it could really make you feel bad for her, especially if she gives that performance on losing her kid, and then you see her fucking taking everybody out. I don't know. It's really interesting, and that's why I felt like I wanted to just kind of talk about this and make this video, because I'm interested in what other people think. There's just not a lot of news about this right now, so really everything's up in the air for speculation as fans, and that this kind of where we are, before news breaks, is kind of fun, because we get to just let our fandom just create ideas and guess what we would want and what we wouldn't want, and then we just kind of have to wait and see what the little pieces that they're going to give us. But yeah, I guess, I'm completely open to whatever they want, because this isn't, for me, the Friday the 13th, like, I would be a little, I would want more expectation from, like, if they did a Saw series, or if they did a Friday, or a Nightmare on Elm Street series. We've seen how the Chucky series has gone, and that is, I know I said I'd want it to be campy, not that fucking campy. Let me be very clear. Not like that. That show took itself, nothing was serious, So I do want there to be stakes. I do want there to be rules. That's an important thing, and that's kind of where when you start introducing magic and shit like that into a series, it needs to be very clear what the rules are. Otherwise, anything can just happen. Jason can just keep coming back in this, then, or Pamela can keep coming back. I don't know, but I just need a good set of rules, and to know if this is a magical world or if this is a grounded, no magic world. Just an idea I kind of had. If you kind of had it where maybe the last couple episodes were Jason, it would be kind of interesting if, because now we've seen him as a kid. Maybe we've seen him as a kid if they go that route. And it would be interesting if we saw, again, I came up with this and then I go, fucking Bates Motel, dude. It's almost like my subconscious is just coming, like, taking things without me knowing. But like the last season of Bates Motel, you had Nora there, or Norma. You had Norma talking to Norman, and he thought she was alive, because now he's full psycho, right? He's full Norman Bates by the end of it. And then you have those scenes where, they're kind of taking things from the Psycho movies and they're kind of shifting them a little bit. So, as a fan, you're going, oh, here it is. Here's the shower scene. Here's this scene. Here's the car. Here's the money. You're doing that. But then they kind of shift it, and they kind of turn things on their side. I would love that. I would love if there was a little homage to little things that we know from the original movies, and they kind of just tweak them a little bit. Yeah. So like Jason, I think it'd be interesting if maybe he see, like, maybe if the head, again, like the decapitation, right? Come up with something with that. That needs to be a big moment, right? But that should be at the end, obviously. Who knows? Maybe that's not going to be a thing. But I just think it'd be kind of cool if Jason saw the head talking to him, almost in a Voices, if you've seen the Ryan Reynolds movie. It kind of in that kind of a way where, kill for mother, mommy wants you to get revenge, and he's actually seeing the head talking to him as, like, not a rotting corpse head, but like just as the Pamela that we've been watching. I think that would be kind of interesting. Again, a little bit of Bates Motel thrown in there, but and you can have Jason talk for a minute, and maybe something happens where now he can't talk. Maybe we see his fucking jaw get smashed or something. But as a kid, as a character, I would like to see Jason be a little more of a character as a kid, and really adapt that relationship between him and his mom. I think that's where you're gonna really have something special if you can do that. But who knows? They might go in a completely different direction. I'm just excited, as a fan of horror, it's such a great time to be a horror fan, because we're getting all these shows, we're getting all these different projects coming out, and this is one where I'm just like, yeah, I like turning things into shows, because it gives us more time to flesh things out. We don't only have 2 hours, and half of it has to be killing people while they're having sex in the woods. We can actually really get into these characters and have a little bit more of a slow burn. So I'm excited. I'm wondering what everybody else thinks. This is probably really early, and I don't think there's much out there. I tried to do a little bit of research before this, but it doesn't seem like there's much out there on this series. So, you know, as a fan, what do you want to see? Are you wanting to see just Pamela? Or you want to see Jason? Or you want to see... Are you not interested in this? Do you think it's a horrible idea and it's going to fuck with your childhood memories of the first movie from the 80s? I don't know. Let me know. Or is it I don't even know. Is it a prequel to the remake? I doubt it. But, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. And thank you for taking the time to listen.